Listen and subscribe to The Table of Truth on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. Welcome, everybody, to Blerdlines. This is your man, Cam. With me, as always, is
Kampachi, captain of the 11th Division, Go Tide 13 for all those anime nerds out there.
as well as...
This is your captain, Josh, speaking. Please return your food trays to the upright position as well as your seats. We'll be coming in for a smooth landing in about 1 hour.
And as always...
What's up, everybody? It's D, and today D is Dark Lord. That's what it's for. I'm here.
Nice. And we are here talking about John Wick Chapter 4. The penultimate, is that a good word for this? Penultimate episode of the franchise?
Arguably.
Yeah.
Well, is it the second before last? Is that what?
Oh, so this will be the ultimate then. Penultimate.
Yeah, this would just be the.
Thank you, grammar professor. So yeah, our man John Wick is back and he's killing a lot of people. I remember I watched John Wick 2 with my ex, and she had never seen the first one, and the credits just started. She's like, I didn't see the first one. What do I need to know? Someone stole his dog, he killed everybody, now he's back. And she's like, cool. And then we got back into it. And then John Wick 4,
much more than that.
Kind of same thing. They did a nice little quick, and to the theater's credit, they rolled a I watched it at the Alamo, and they rolled a like a recap. It was almost like some YouTuber or whatever, but it wasn't like it was a good one. It was like a 90-second tight, just like, all right, it'd be like, what to watch John Wick 4? This is what you need to know. And then it just literally started from the beginning. Nice little mashup, got you there. Then credits rolling. We're in the deserts of Jordan on our horseback.
I will say this. We know what John Wick is, but it doesn't. It's like it's in between. It doesn't get too cheesy, and it holds my attention enough where I'm like, oh, this is cool because I know what I'm getting myself into. Gratuitous violence, action, and being a jiu-jitsu practitioner, there is a lot of jiu-jitsu being displayed in all 4 movies.
Well, it doesn't try to be something that it's not.
No. But you see martial arts movies, you're like, oh, this is kind of what. Like, I remember I watched Ninja, and I was like, this is whatever, But I like ninjas, so I'm gonna watch. But John Wick has successfully grabbed my attention and held my expectations in check, and I enjoy it. The one downside, I've never seen any cops in the movie, and Keanu is old, man. I didn't realize how old he was, and it's weird because he doesn't look old, but he's bow-legged and he's running. I don't think he can run, actually, like, just because of the way he was moving in that movie. But I will give credit when credit is due, because I know the guy that trained him in jiu-jitsu, this guy named Dave Camarillo, and he does some of the stunt work. And his jiu-jitsu looked really good. I think he's like, if he's not a blue belt, he's like a high-level white belt, which is the lowest rank, but it looked good enough where someone who does the art form, I'm like, okay, that's legit. Like, it was legit moves. It wasn't no fake stuff. And a guy being his age, doing some of the stunt work, some of the moves, I was like, oh, this is pretty clean. And I dug it. I like the story. It's John Wick, or what was the movie? What was the movie with Brad Pitt and a train robbery? What was the name of that called?
Oh, Bullet Train.
I feel like Bullet Train was trying to be John Wick, and it didn't. It didn't hit the mark. Yeah,
I thought they, in terms of fighting style and what they were trying to go, I thought they did the kind of like, hey, let's do a simple plot and let's execute it thing. And I
ridiculous.
And it was ridiculous.
And that's exactly what it was. It was literally ridiculous. It was a simple plot.
Ridiculous.
They executed.
Yeah, it was.
That was it.
It was purposely over the top. And that's where I think it differentiates itself from John Wick. I mean, John Wick was purposely over the top, but it took itself way more seriously than Bullet Train did.
Yeah, exactly. Like Bullet Train was literally Brad Pitt being Brad Pitt, and then let's throw in like bad bunnies in there, and then the Japanese people, and then another chick with a bad British accent, and then we got these two brothers, one's black and one's white. One black dude has a British accent, sorta ish, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, Americans.
Zaz Beats comes through for no reason. Like, wait, what is going on here?
It was like everybody from Atlanta was in that movie, and
or it was a poor interpretation of a Guy Ritchie movie because I was like, what is this?
Yeah, no, it definitely drums up. Not to get too far into Bullet Train, but it drums up all of those things. Guy Ritchie, the John Wicks of the world. It had even some Tarantino was in there. Just like
Michael Shannon as a sword wielding ninja samurai guy was absolutely believable. I don't even understand what is critical.
There's a Russian samurai.
Yes, a Russian samurai shogun lord. That shit was
100%. That was 100% believable.
I almost thought I was watching freaking Zack Snyder film because it was just as ridiculous.
I wanted to like it, but I was like,
I was entertained, but yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I loved it.
It was entertaining, but it was just like God unbelievable. Like
it was entertaining in a I can't look away kind of situation. Like I literally watched that movie and didn't know what to think for about an hour. And then there was then we moved into Act 3, and there was that ridiculous train. But that last sequence where it's just everything is blowing up, people are flying around the cart. It's just insane. I mean, there's not many films that leave me completely bamboozled like that. So I give it credit for that because I literally didn't know what to say after. I think
Brian Tyree Henry's character living at the end of all that was just one of the most ridiculous things ever.
Wait, where's he from?
Atlanta.
He's from that.
I think he's somewhere south. I don't know if it's
he's somewhere south.
North Carolina or somewhere or Atlanta, but or Georgia, but he's somewhere. He's American.
That accent is terrible.
Yeah, he and Joaquin, the girl, they're both American.
Yeah, and
both of them had terrible British accents.
Terrible British
Americans don't need to do British accents.
It's like
suck at it. I haven't found one American that can.
Hayesville, North Carolina, sir.
North Carolina. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's not a. I can say for sure I have not seen an American actor that has successfully pulled off a good British accent. Yeah. Could be out there. There's a lot of film.
Tessa Thompson maybe come close.
Who?
Tessa Thompson.
Okay. That's a case.
Maybe.
Wait, what movie? What role did she do?
You're talking about for the Marvel movies?
Yeah.
For those listening, the D is given the nah son face.
I mean, I'm not. If that's the face I'm giving, that's not what I'm thinking. It's just a kind of reaction. But I'm just kind of think about that accent. We're getting too far away from
Back to John Wick.
Bullet Train has derailed John Wick.
Back to John Wick.
So I would say the thing that John Wick did, as they always do, is one, their martial arts in the movie is always top notch, which is great because there's a director that's a stuntman, which at least that adds to it. And the one thing I was surprised about was John Wick was 3 hours long. I didn't know that till I sat down, and then when I watched it, the pacing and everything went so fast. I actually didn't even feel the 3 hours, which was surprising. Mm-hmm. And I did not expect that because I was kind of like, oh man, it's 3 hours. Like, what are they gonna be doing?
That I will say this. I found out, and I purposely was like, okay, I got to go see the 8 one because I was gonna go way late, and I was like, oh hell no, I'll be out at 1 o'clock. I was like, nah, let me go, and I stayed to watch the end credits, which really wasn't worth it, but because I was there for 3 hours, I was like, I might as well just stick it out.
Yeah. The runtime is 3 hours.
2 hours and 49 minutes. 2 hours.
Because the first one was like an hour.
90.
Yeah, the solid 90 minutes.
Yeah,
I agree with Cam. You don't feel it. I didn't notice it at all.
No,
I was. Yeah,
I think I noticed it a little bit in the staircase scene.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
But otherwise, I don't think I really felt it in the film at all.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, if that's the thing, that now they're getting to the point where they gotta make these movies. They're making these movies like 3 hours.
Like, needed to be it, but because it was, I was okay. Yeah. That's what I was saying. It didn't need to be 3 hours, but like if honestly, they probably could have just chopped this in 2 if they wanted. But the parts that I would say is it felt like, hey guys, you guys want to be in Japan? Hey, let's do something in Japan. All right, hey, you guys want to go something in Paris? Let's go do something in Paris. And so I think there's some parts of it where I'm like, okay, if I had to cut this down, what you got to cut the meat out. Like, how could you get it to a tight 90? And I'm like, I think you can.
I disagree. I don't think you can, and it's because just the number of set pieces in that film, just they're going ham. You need connective tissue. You need something to join one action sequence to the next, and there's tons of action sequences in this thing. Like next time I watch it, I'm gonna count, but it's more than your average film.
Oh, yeah.
And so if your intention is to have that many set pieces in action sequences in a film, you're gonna need exposition. You're gonna need moments where they're not doing that in order to connect things from one to the other. And I mean, it's just, there's some insane action sequences in this thing. Like some of the best I've ever seen.
And you're having a freaking ball doing it. Like, they were having so much fun. Like, I would say, for reports, Donnie Yen, of course, steals the show. But you could tell in every scene he was having a great time. Like, he just, my friend was saying, he was like, he's a stuntman, and he was just like, yeah, I could tell when Donnie's team is doing this, he is doing it, and then the main stunt choreographer, like, there's distinct difference, and like he said that earlier before the movie started, and I kind of picked up on that in terms of how things are filmed and how the things are going on. But it was a good thing because it felt together,
Let me know when I can insert my Donnie Yen rant, please.
I will say this: the fights look believable, in a sense that, like I said, knowing that Keanu does actual jujitsu,
right?
So I'm like, all right, cool. These moves look real. Now, one thing that got me is that all his enemies had the aim of a stormtrooper. I'm like,
no matter how close they were,
I'm like,
not matter. He had his coat over his head, and that was his.
He had a Kevlar suit on.
Well, I totally forgot. I totally forgot about the guy. I was like, why? I was like, is he invulnerable to bullets? Like, what is going on? I forgot that was
Kevlar. Well, I mean, and even that's unbelievable. If we're gonna poke holes for a second, even that's unbelievable, because the thing with Kevlar is supposed to be, once it takes a hit, it's now useless. It may as well be, wafers in a Kit Kat. It's just.
But did you peep this though? When they did the last duel and he took off his clothes, you heard all the shells fall. And I was
that was dope.
I gave him a little credit for like keeping the continuity of all the bullets he did take. know, and I was like, no sniper, like just have a sniper. One dude was about to be a sniper, but that was
the whole point of that sequence is the honorability of the whole thing. I said I think that
Josh is going by intention, not actual.
Yes, not the actual, but I think the whole point was supposed to be. I mean, it's a literal 30 paces duel, like old school.
Yeah.
You might have a sniper waiting in the wings to take him out. You're just
But also, I wanted to know the backstory of Mr. Nobody. He just came. I mean, he came out of nowhere, and I'm just like, all right,
yeah.
They just plopped him in there. So
and also, you know, they were talking about how his role was supposed to be, or it was started with the intention of Wesley Snipes being that role, and then Jackie Chan was supposed to be doing Donnie Yen's role. Both of those two things fell through. Donnie Yen popped in, but then also Donnie Yen had some notes. So he changed the character's name. He had other aspects of it, and again to honor, you know, Donnie Yen is the man. So when he said, "Hey man, I do this, but these are the things I need to change," you'd be like, "Bet." And this is now, Josh, do your rant.
Okay, so I've been a Donnie Yen fan since I was 11 years old. 1984, I distinctly remember the first film that I saw on Channel 5 in New York at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was appointment television. It was always a martial arts flick on in the afternoon on Saturdays. Out of nowhere, Drinking Tai Chi comes on, and something about his portrayal just absolutely stuck with me. And that was the first time I was like, okay. I've seen all these other flicks with Gordon Liu and all these other dudes. I didn't know any names at the time, but he's the first person outside of Bruce Lee that I was like, who's that? Who is this guy? And I've seen every last one of his films. Now, this man has been doing this since I was 11 years old. I'm about to be 50. Why can Donnie Yen not get a leading role in a film in America today? I do not understand. It doesn't make sense. The man is bankable. Everyone wants him in their films. And it's really a matter of scheduling at this point, whether or not you can get him in your movie. So why is racist Hollywood not putting this man in a lead, in a role, in a film, and just letting him go bananas and let his team do it? The man has his own team that was injected into a film that he's in. It's in his rider. I need my team doing my stunts with me if I'm going to be in this movie, if I'm doing martial arts. That's how nasty this man is. Come on already. Ran over.
I think it falls on, he's going to fall in the same pitfall that Jet Li did. Jet Li and Donnie Yen, if Donnie Yen never gets a leading role, is going to be the Arvidas Sabonis of like action heroes that cross over, because we're missing their peak, man. Like Fist of Legend was Jet Li. Yeah, Fist of Legend and Iron Monkey was Jet Li and Donnie Yen's peak when they.
I mean, I would say for Jet Li, I would say Hero was probably his like at that.
Oh yeah, but that was an American film.
Yeah, it was an American, but from a scale point,
he's like Donnie Yen has led tons of Hong Kong action films, but he's never led an American film. He's always random Asian guy number 12 who knows martial arts and says cool things and does cool things and it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy because I think, you could tell he was having fun through the whole film. He was like winking and smiling, had funny lines, the whole nine. And so I thought it was interesting that I'm glad that he got it. It was kind of the same moment of Tony Leung when he was on Shang-Chi, where it's like, Tony Leung don't need to be doing no Shang-Chi. This dude is fucking dope. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go get this bag real quick. I'm gonna bring a little bit of gravitas to a pretty average movie, and he did his thing. But it was just funny that for American audiences, they are seeing these great actors in these pieces and not realizing that they're like these big deals. Like Donnie Yen is the man, dude.
Donnie Yen is the greatest martial arts / actor of his generation, and we are wasting. We're wasting time having him in these in these supporting roles. Granted, this may as well have been a Donnie Yen movie, to their credit, right? I feel like Keanu Reeves got out of the way and sort of let it be what it was. Like the character's arc sort of went where it was supposed to go, and so that pushed him a little bit further up front than average. But it's Donnie Yen, so you do that. And I think he recognized game. He was just like, oh, this dude's in it? I bet. I'm going to step back. Like, there's been 3 movies with me in the front. It's still me top billing. He can get shine. And he really let him cut loose. They really let him cut loose. And it was a joy to watch that man work. And this was, and as Cam said, this is light work for him. This is as much work as he put into this film. It was just, all right. You want me to play a blind guy who knows martial arts? Cool, no problem.
He did that in Star Wars.
Yep, exactly.
Basically.
Yep. Let me ask you this. What was the other guy in John Wick 3? Mark Dacascos?
Mark Dacascos, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Only the strong dude in Iron Chef.
Yeah. Well, I thought, the Crow.
The Crow. The second Crow, right?
Yeah. I thought the Bowery King had died.
Oh, yeah.
He got 7 slices from Mark Dacascos in the last John Wick, and all of a sudden he popped up. I was like, man, maybe I should have rewatched the first 3, because I was like, man, I was like, what happened? I thought I had a grasp on it, and but it was cool. But it was just the one thing that bugged me was just seeing how physically unable Keanu was, like when he had to run and go up the stair. I was like, this dude really is like old.
Yeah,
he definitely got beat up, man.
Starting to wear on him a little bit. Yeah,
definitely got beat up. But I think that was dope because it kind of showed, because that was the one thing. Like John Wick was going through all the craziness, right? He was when he fought Fat Suit Scott Atkins, and he fell off the little bridge thing into the water.
Yo,
yikes!
I was like, who's this fat man that can move like this? And I was like,
yo, Scott Atkins was doing his thing, dude. That has been a staple in B-level action films for the last 10 years.
But it threw me off. I was like, this dude can really throw a kick. Like, I was tripping out. I was like, wow. And then I found out who it was. I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that was dope. And then, what's it called? And then, Lawrence Fishburne was doing this Lawrence Fishburne thing. So he was, every time he shows up, he's just jolly and having fun and cracking jokes. And then
all portable. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and it was great. So and then Ian McShane. It was just like I've been really a fan of TV shows and movies where you can tell the actors had fun making it. And it's they're enjoying, you can on screen, it's coming off on screen. They're enjoying, Ian McShane having fun. Everyone that was on it, even what was the pop star's name? Japanese chick. I'm about to look it up right now.
I will say, well, this is not the latest John Wick, but the old one where Common was in it. Common can't act to save his blood.
Yeah, we've established.
God.
Hey man, leave Common alone, man.
Yo, no,
that exist.
I realized this the most. I realized this the most when he was in that god awful Scott Bale Terminator movie. And he was horrible. Whichever.
Well, that was
the movie was bad itself, and Common was even worse. I'm like, how are you? You're in a bet. What is going on?
No worse than Sam Worthington though, and that's
that is fair.
Sam Worthington has
good point.
Hollywood has invested a significant amount of dough in that what they did in the mid to late 2000s.
Yeah, they gave him every chance to be a high Hollywood star.
Yeah, man, but he sucks. But I know Common is not a great actor, but in the Salvation movie, and that dude was in also the lead in Avatar. That's why they cut his role down, I'm sure, in the second.
And Clash of the Titans. He did 2 Clash of the Titans, 3, 2 of them.
Man, too many. 1, 2.
Yeah.
Put it like that.
Yeah, the Japanese daughter, that was Rina Sawayama, and then the other dude that's a veteran actor, Hiroki Sanada. He was in Bullet Train as well. But
let me ask you guys this: you've seen the movie. Where is the franchise going next? Does it seem like it still has the momentum? I mean, because it seems like there's some changes with the 2 hour. The reason I brought up the 3 hour thing is because to me, what was so great about the first, I would say 2, because I think both the first and second film were 90 minutes tight.
Yeah,
I don't remember what the third film was, but
roughly the same.
Yeah, but okay, so even still. To me, what was great about that is it wasn't trying to build a complex narrative. It was just getting in and getting out and doing what it did best in those 90 minutes. So to tack on, more time to that would need a more stronger narrative, in my opinion. So I'm wondering, how do you feel about that? Because you mentioned a lot of action sequences, but does that mean that what was the glue that held all those sequences together was good storytelling? So I'm just curious if you guys think that the storytelling is taking it to a bigger level, even on the franchise, with the franchise.
I mean, yes, I guess. I think
this is all built around his dog being killed and him being assassinated.
I will say that in part 3, in part 3, it kind of went away from that. The motivation.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Something else.
And I
think they put some different stakes in there.
Yeah, I would say the world that they've built, that's the one thing I would say. I really, really, really enjoy the world that they've built. Right. And I think that with the world that they've built, and they're going to test this theory with their Ana de Armas spinoff movie, Ballerina or something like that. It's supposed to come out next year.
Yeah,
and also the Continental TV show, which is supposed to be on whatever streaming service. And so they've built a world where they're going to test the theory if they can do this without John Wick, which I think they can.
There's the universe now.
Yeah, the universe. Yeah, the world they built is super interesting, and like even in this one, you get to see the Paris Continental. You see the Japan, Osaka Continental, and how there's different types of managers and how they run it and that kind of stuff. And so like the Japanese one,
their roles are the same.
Yeah, like the Japanese one, it's a father and daughter. The daughter's the Sharon, and she's the manager. It's all kind of a thing. So, like, I think they have enough like world building that if they kind of leaned into that aspect of it and let some people that are better writers and that are stronger storytellers like play in that world, they could do some really interesting things. And it doesn't necessarily need to have a John Wick tie to it, as opposed to just being like, yeah, John Wick is out there in that world, but over here in Brazil. Over here in Atlanta, Georgia, they could literally do a Continental in any major city, and then that could be a whole other narrative, independent of John Wick, but still in that realm where it's like, yo, we heard about the shit with John Wick, yeah, man, that shit was crazy. It's like maybe I think that's one of the narrative threads of the film, the main bad guy, one of the Skarsgårds.
Well, I think the route that they're going to go with the Continental TV series is it's going to be the beginning of the New York Continental. So Lance Reddick's character, rest in peace, Lance Reddick. I shed a tear. So no great surprise that they killed off his character in the film. And it hit a little different when they offed his character. All right, I'm not going to get worked up about that. But
wait, which character
would be Lance Reddick's character?
I'm glad you brought it up because that's what I was going to talk about next, was the fact that I think would mark his final film would be, I think, John Wick. I don't know if he has anything else coming out, but yeah.
I don't know either.
I think he filmed scenes already for the spinoff, because the spinoff's supposed to be Ana de Armas. It's supposed to be between 3 and 4 with Ian McShane. Ana de Armas is the lead. Norman Reedus, Walking Dead, will be in there, and I think somebody else. So it could be interesting. I mean,
there's a chance though, because of his son passing, that they may cut those scenes.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Just out of respect for his family, because I'm sure, like, it's one thing, like you said, if his character dies in this movie, and on top of the death and all that stuff. So I can imagine them cutting those things, or they might leave them in. It'd be a good, because I'm sure they didn't get to put the credit, in memory, in memoriam, or if
I was looking for that.
It happened. So it happened way a couple days before the premiere. I think he died.
Mm-hmm.
That he sent a video, and because he couldn't make it, but so yeah, if they did include the scenes, that would be a good opportunity to do that, to be like, rest in peace.
Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be really, really dope.
I didn't know about this spinoff, to be honest. I just started looking it up right now.
Yeah. So it could be interesting. Like I said, I Ana de Armas is kind of that chick right now in terms of that realm, and so she's being in a lot of random stuff. So it could be interesting. I think the world is developed enough that you're curious to see what they play with it. And I think, supposedly it's supposed to be a John Wick cameo in it or whatever, but it's like, it's her thing. It's supposed to be between 3 and 4. But I am curious because I think like the world they did create, from literally dude's dog gets killed and he kills everybody, to freaking this whole world, underground world of assassins that has its own currency, has its own rules, has its own council, like, it's to me, it's an interesting world to play in, and I think they can do some stuff with it. Now it's just more about what they do, and so that, because like you said, they already said, they're like, oh, we don't need to do a John Wick 5 kind of a thing, but then they're like, if you want to, you could, which again, of course, but it's also like, I could see a Donnie Yen spinoff really easily without any leaps of logic or anything, and then make it happen.
Well, they did leave it open, because at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, they were at the funeral of Bowery King and Ian McShane's character, and they said, "What do you think John Wick is at? Heaven or hell?" And the manager was like, "I don't know." That could be code for something if they wanted to go that route.
Definitely code. It's absolutely code.
Yeah.
I mean, and Keanu Reeves is on record saying that, he's basically like, yo, if people keep going to see these movies, we'll keep making them.
Yeah.
Quite.
But again, Keanu's getting up there in age, man. I just now I'm starting to realize, man, just, like when I look at Denzel and he always looks like he's chewing gumballs because of his jaws. I was like, this man is like 60 years old. So I gotta realize that my iconic 90s and early 2000 heroes are just up there in age, you know what I'm saying? So when I saw Keanu run, I was just like, yo, it might be time to hang it up, you know what I'm saying? Because the action sequences demand, and he's doing some jujitsu, so I was like, he's going to demand some physical toll. But jujitsu is a sport that you can be very old and still be very effective, so it's very believable. But I wouldn't mind seeing a video game, because I'm surprised we don't have a John Wick video game.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair though, I mean, Hiroyuki, what's his last name?
Sanada.
Thank you. Hiroyuki Sanada is like in his 60s, and he's still out here flipping blades like they're pocket.
But he looks believable though. Like Wick looked noticeably like he had a little hitch in his step, where the other guy looked like he could still move. So I'm like, I'm not questioning him because he looked like he still got it. Wick just looks, or excuse me, Keanu just looks like damn man, I'm on this like he looked like he just fell down 50,000 flights of stairs. The way he was.
Yeah. It's called acting, Cam.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair though, I think to Cam's point, I feel like the pacing of the action sequences is just a hair slower than the other three films. It just visually, the pacing and the speed look a little slower. So there is something to what he's saying.
I like it. I wish this was more of in my opinion, if they had time to make this more of an animation, because
I think
be cooler. So
I think
I would like to see this. That's just
I would say.
Well, I mean, the IP is out there now.
That's what I was gonna say. Exactly what I was gonna say. Like, I think it's there. The IP is deep enough that they can go different ways with it. Like, they could make an animation out of it. They can do some TV show. They can do some spinoffs. Like, we were just talking about Mr. Nobody. We're like they did the what was the Better Call Saul Nobody film? They did that in that realm, and that worked. And it was cool. It was within the realm. It was a different type. It had nothing to do with John Wick whatsoever, but it was still in the universe, and it was an interesting and entertaining film. So I think there's one of those things where if they're smart, they like, let John Wick be John Wick, but then they start to develop things like that. Because even the Nobody film, that kind of took me by surprise. I was like, wait, he doing action? And he was great.
Wait, Nobody is set in the John Wick universe, or it is? Oh, I didn't know that.
Wait. So what movie is this? I'm sorry. Or what series?
Nobody.
What is this on?
It was released. Let me go double check it. It was with why can't I remember? Better Call Saul.
Odenkirk.
Yeah, Bob Odenkirk, and he's basically.
Back up. So you're saying that movie is set in the in the John Wick universe?
I got homework to do.
I had never known.
I did not know that.
They didn't market it that way.
It definitely didn't.
Bob Odenkirk. I'm gonna double check it.
They may have marketed it, now that I'm thinking about it, as being from the producers, the people that made John Wick. I think that's what I remember them marketing it that way, but it was not marketed as being
double check
in that universe.
So they said a potential crossover stated there is potential for a crossover between John Wick and Nobody, as they was created in the same Studio 87 North production.
Yeah, and so so they had aspects of it. So that's why I was like, I think I could have swore. Hold on.
So they sprinkled things that hint that it could be set in the same universe, but they left it distant enough so that if it don't come to fruition, nobody call them a liar.
Yeah, basically.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I do remember now that you said that they did market that film with that John Wick.
Yeah, I remember that.
Producers of John Wick.
Yeah,
but that, sometimes you look at that and that could mean there's just some.
Yeah, it literally could be anything at this point.
Yeah, it could be anybody that was involved with John Wick, but because it's John Wick, it gives the movie a pump.
Yeah, definitely.
A movie a pump. Okay, that's still very interesting though.
I'm gonna watch Nobody because now once I saw the poster for it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this, and I just totally forgot to watch it.
And then now there's a TV series for it on AMC.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's called Nobody. I think it has another name, but it's about that character. And Bob Odenkirk is still with AMC.
Oh, really? Oh, he's doing that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they picked up the show even before Saw ended. They were marketing that show, and because you would see different spots appearing in the Better Call Saul, ad space or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. But yeah, I think that there's like, again, the best part about John Wick to me, I mean, of course, is the action, but the taking the world and expanding it, that made it more interesting, and it made it fun, and they made it like every time when we were in a new Continental, and there's a whole different things of assassins and blah blah blah, and everyone's different, and the types of assassins are different. But in John Wick 4, they were definitely having fun with all their locations, though. They're like, how much money we got? We can go wherever you want.
Yeah, I think in the end it was well worth the price of admission. It's a tad bit long, but that's due to my own age and the time I went to go watch it. So with that said, and I think overall as a collective, John Wick did what it needed to do. I've never watched a John Wick movie and came out like this was terrible. I thoroughly enjoyed it as a whole. I enjoyed each one. And I liked that it had the first two had a narrative that I can really get behind, but I think the motivation behind John Wick's character also changed dramatically in the third one, because it was just a different motivation for whatever reason, and that's fine, because it's a moneymaker. You know what I'm saying? People enjoyed it. I get that, and I think they could do more with this, spinoffs and whatnot. Be interested to see where they go, the character development. I do want to see a video game made out of this, an Arkham Asylum type video game.
That'd be fun.
Something of that nature. If they do it right, if they do it wrong, I'll just chalk it up to a lot of movies that turn video games done terribly. So
if they did it, they should do it with the same engine as Ghost of Tsushima. Because that game is
amazing.
I cannot get. I'm even about to start it over and play Kurosawa mode, straight black and white Japanese with the English subtitles. It literally is like
it's a beautiful game,
samurai movie, and it is beautifully shot, beautiful game.
But I think Cam's explanation about how the world gets expanded even further, and it gets expanded in all three of the previous films, but like it gets exploded in this movie, and I think that is probably the thing that sort of carries the narrative more so than anything. Like the narrative being, he's now persona non grata, and he's got a, and so basically he sets out to take himself off the board, and in order to do that, he has to kill 3 hours worth of people. And so do that.
And I like that they introduced like last time it was the auditor or whatever that got introduced, and then this one it's the
Harbinger. Yeah, I was like,
the Harbinger was introduced. The Marquis was introduced. So it was interesting to see different types of people in this world and their roles,
different locations and different characters. Yeah.
What I didn't realize was that some of the people that John Wick was assassinating or killing was high table members.
Yeah.
So these weren't just your run-of-the-mill assassins. These were like high-ranking people in power. I was gonna say too, I would like to, if they ever did the series, a prequel of how he became the Babadook and how he got out the first time, because it was like, how many men did you kill? And he was like, a lot.
You call him the Babadook?
Yeah. Babadook. Baba Yaga. Yeah. So Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga. Excuse me. Baba Yaga. Excuse me.
That's still funny, man.
Yeah. Both scary though. So.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying. Like both instill fear. So yeah, get it wrong.
But I'm kind of interested in how he got out of the family the first time. So that's just my own personal interest.
I mean, yeah, they could show that for sure.
That's where you could get the anime space in, because then you don't have to do any gimmicky de-aging or cast a younger actor, because nobody wants to see John Wick who's not Keanu Reeves at this point, at least not right now. Maybe 5-10 years down and where they decide, oh, let's do a live action prequel or whatever, let's cast young John. But for now, animation would be a good space to tell, and medium to tell that story of how he becomes the legendary John Wick that we meet.
John Wick's excellent adventure.
Yeah, and more about his wife, who was so special to him. You know what I mean? Like, was she involved in that stuff? And what, maybe she was a badass assassin at some point. They don't give a lot of details about her, so there's room to expand even there, and that's a whole nother story, a whole nother John that we would encounter.
You could easily make a film just based on the legend of how he got out. Because if you remember in the first film, the dude that he eventually, the boss that he ends up going after in that film, basically says the part of the reason why it was such a big deal that his son screwed over John Wick, killed his dog, stole his car, as he was mourning his wife. He was like, yo, he wanted out and got out. And I tasked him with, if I remember correctly, the dude was like, yo, I tasked him with what should have been an impossible kill. Like, he had to go through this crazy gauntlet to get to this one dude. He got to the dude, killed him, and I told him if he can do that, then I bet you're out. And he did it. And so that alone, that last mission, forget early. I mean, that's still early.
Cam mentioned that one, right? Didn't you mention that that same scenario?
Yeah.
And it could all be either anime or live action. But live action, you would obviously have to recast for a younger actor, because that, I don't know when that happened, that particular story.
True. Old man Keanu ain't doing it. They ain't doing that.
Yeah. All I'm saying is we get the reputation precedes himself, Jonathan Wick.
Yeah. And that makes it, and that's part of the mystique that people liked about it. One of the other things I'm going to say was the 87 North Productions, like that they did Nobody, Kate, that was on Netflix, Bullet Train, Violet Night with
which I got to see. I heard that was good.
I saw that. I watched that. Oh, that was just fun.
So much fun. And then and they're doing a Fall Guy reboot, which I was kind of like, that's interesting. But interesting, yeah. I want people to do more movies like this where they're just having some fun. They take a concept, run with it, and see what happens, and it makes it entertaining. And I think if we get that and that in a sea of reboots and fucking sequels and comic book movies and all that's our little lane, they make it happen. So
that's why I like Bullet Train for what it was, because it reminded me of B movie cheese that just happened to have more money than most B movies that we grew up on would have got.
Violet Night's exact same to me.
Yeah, exactly.
When I watched that, I got the same like kind of vibe where I'm like, this is perfect USA up all night B movie like schlock, but it was entertaining as hell. It had fun. It had a good enough story that was like, okay.
Yeah, it was competent. And I think at the very least, most B movies had some kind of competency behind it, where it was like either stupid to the point of fun, or it's like so bad that you just enjoy watching how bad it is.
Yeah.
Like that there's a space for that. And I know it sounds ironic coming from me, but there is a space for that, because that's how
I was waiting to say that.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. I knew you were going to try to hit me with that one.
I'm sitting here looking down as I'm listening to you, like, oh.
Yeah,
Professor, that's serious.
Yo, so the movie that fits that bill is the Dolph Lundgren Punisher for me.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't have the rights to the full rights, and they made it, and it had all the trappings of the Punisher we knew.
I love it.
Didn't have a skull. They couldn't get sued. But everybody looks at that Punisher as the first live action Punisher movie that was ever made. And when I was a kid, I enjoyed that movie. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh, it was terrible. No, just like probably enjoyed every other Dolph Lundgren movie bad movie that came out during that time. Masters of the Universe.
As a kid, when I saw that, I just started. It's funny, when that came out, I just started reading Punisher, so I think it was a little fresher for me in my mind, and there was a little bit of it. So it was a little bit of like, that's not the Punisher. Come on.
Yeah, like if you were reading Punisher and you saw that, you're like, okay, no.
And so for me, Punisher Warzone was like, this is what I wanted back then.
Yeah. Because you said that was thinking about a time when it ain't Punisher. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's not blown. In my opinion, as great as John Bernthal is, like, don't get me wrong, I love his portrayal, but for my money, that will always be, unless they sort of pivot back to that will be the penultimate unmatchable Punisher. I don't think they'll ever do that again, and I don't think they can ever match it.
I agree. And you know what's interesting about that movie? It was totally made like a B movie. It was completely made like a B movie.
He killed like what, 5 people or something in the whole movie or something?
In less than 5 minutes, he's blowing heads off at a dinner table like a mobsters and just like shredding people. Like he blew like the we talk about all the time, Josh. The craziest scene ever was the parkour scene. With the you don't see Punisher. All you see is these dudes, they're the villains, they're flipping and they're doing their thing. And then all of a sudden one is he's flipping, and then a rocket just incinerates him off screen. Straight to the Punisher looking from behind the rocket launcher. And I agree. No, hats off to John Bernthal, but Ray Winestone Winston, that dude. Or Stevenson. Ray Stevenson, excuse me. Ray Stevenson.
Yeah, Ray Stevenson. That was one of the most gratifying.
The most accurate Punisher out there.
The most accurate Punisher ever.
Yeah. It was one of the most gratifying action sequences I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, his nose broke and he's in the back of the police station and he just car, and he just snaps his nose back. It breaks his nose and just snaps it back and does this. And he just keeps going. I'm like, this is the Punisher. Now this is the Punisher that we wanted.
Hey, I've said this many times before, but when Josh was telling me, pleading with me to watch The Expanse, and he said Thomas J, I was like, oh hell nah, I'm not watching this.
I still remember that Punisher movie.
Yeah, that Punisher movie.
I'll never forget that. Like,
he said, trust me, I know, but watch this. And Josh has forever earned equity for giving me the ability or allowing me the opportunity to watch it, because I was like, Thomas Jane. Now I'll say this: Thomas Jane, there was a fan made Punisher.
Oh yeah, it was like a short.
Yeah. Short.
The short.
That was cool. That was the one movie he did was terrible, but Thomas Jane is like the worst Punisher, and that's like terrible to say.
But you know what? To be fair to him, he wasn't the worst part about that movie.
No,
he was miscast. Yeah, that movie was
hot. It was a hot mess. Yeah.
It was just boring.
It was the worst part of that movie.
Well, there you go. But yeah, but he was redeemed by The Expanse. And after Warzone came out, everybody forgot about that.
Yep. And fun fact, he's in a bunch of he was Volstagg in the Marvel movies, on the Thor movie.
Yes.
And then he did a bunch of voices for Clone Wars and Rebels, and he's going to be in the new Ahsoka series.
Oh, wait, Ray Stevenson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's right. He was Volstagg. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go. He ended up back in the Marvel family, but just the much lighter tone version, because that's when they were trying to do the Marvel Knights, and that was going to be like the first film.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
The Marvel Knights.
Yeah.
And I remember that.
It didn't make any money, and I think it didn't make any money because it was made so close in proximity to that Thomas Jane movie, and everybody remembered that, and it was like, no, we don't want to be hurt anymore. But those of us who were like, you know what, forget it. You know, we were rewarded because I enjoyed every moment of it, every minute of it.
I think that's gonna be our final word. We don't even need to do final words for that. A salute to Punisher Warzone. Go ahead, Josh. You get to take it out.
Shout out to the brothers that do why am I spazzing right now? Probably because I was drinking so much last night. That do Double Toasted. Jesus Christ. That do the brothers that do Double Toasted. Corey and Martin, had a chance to meet them and chop it up with those brothers last night. Great dudes. I can officially refer to them as friends of the pod. They just, off hours, not recording anything and still at a bar, yakking it up about comic book stuff, yakking it up about movies and television. Like, it is a true passion for those guys. And it was, in so much as, it was great to see, sort of the guys be the center of attention for this many people. There was a bunch of people there last night. It was like easily like 200 people at the recording last night. And then I'd say at least half that crowd showed up at the after party. And when I left at 3, and most of those people were still there.
Those guys,
these guys are still there. Yeah,
they're. I said they're real cult of personality, and I think, a mutual friend of ours, and he knows who he is if he's listening.
Nah. Call him by his name. Shout out to Eric Norman who put us on. He put us on. Yeah, been a steady, and Chester Miles, who have both been steady stands for Double Toasted, and have and put me on, put D on if I'm not mistaken, and have been steady stands for that show. And it is one of two reviewers I only ever ever pay any attention to when a film comes out. I want to know what Double Toasted thinks. I'm not gonna shout out the other dude because we ain't cool with that guy yet. But I only listen to them aside from this august gathering of minds. That would be the only other people that I really pay attention to when a review gets posted. So shout out to those dudes. Much continued success, and it was a pleasure meeting those guys. I can officially adopt them as friends of the pod for sure.
Salute.
Well, definitely, we like that because, like you said, I'm a big fan, and those guys make reviewing fun.
Yeah. Yes, they really do.
Make it really fun. All right, well, once again, this is Blerdlines, and we are out.